scrappy friends. Welcome to Try It Tuesday. And if you're new here, let me give a brief explanation of what is Try It Tuesday. So Try It Tuesday is where I go into the creative memories world. There's lots of inspiration out there via their website, their blog post, their multiple Facebook pages. And I look for inspiration and then I bring it back here. I recreate it and basically it's just to show you how simple and easy the inspiration is to do, and to also inspire you to go out there and look for inspiration and try it in your own albums. I spend a lot of time in the creative memories world, so it's easy for me to come across these different inspiration pieces. The one for today is this border right here. Now I love this border. When I first saw it, I immediately was drawn to it, and I thought this would be a great one to bring back and use for Try It Tuesday. And I've only seen it in their marketing pieces. It's not on the blog yet. I know it will probably end up on the blog with detailed directions, but it's not there yet. So it'll be fun to see when it does show up on the blog how close my interpretation of it is without measurements, and see if I could get it pretty close to what they actually did to create this. So I hope that you agree that this is a beautiful, beautiful border, and I hope when I'm done, I can show you how quick and simple, easy, fun, and beautiful this border really is. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So this border uses the brand new Vivid Melodies collection, and it really focuses primarily on Jazzberry. And if you haven't seen my video already, I'll link it at the very end of this video so you can go back and watch it. So I won't go through all the papers today. It's also using the brand new Sunshine Arches border making cartridge, so that's exciting. Go ahead and put that in here. And one strip of the border stickers. But keep in mind, I know, and I hope that you know, that this border really can be done with any collection. So if these pinks and reds are not your thing, then try it out with some other collections. It could also be done with any other kind of border punch or something that you really wanted to play with. Substitute it and see if you like it. So remember that the inspiration is there to guide you. It's not a requirement that you have to do it the same way. Okay, so let's look at the papers that I'm going to use for today. Like I said, I'm going to use the Jazzberry collection. So this border does use 4 different pattern papers from the Jazzberry collection, as well as 1 piece from the Butterscotch collection, which is this yellow one. Okay, so let me put this aside for now because we are going to start here with the yellow piece. Okay, and this is the one that we will be using to punch out our border. So what we do is we slide the paper in. We make sure that it's in the guide and it's flush into both corners. And then we put down this bar, which is magnetic, and will hold the paper in place. We flip back the paper guide, and it's this loose piece that's going to go into our border making cartridge. We slide it in and it clicks right in place. And then you simply push down and you go all the way down the paper. Okay, now this one is what we call an edge punch because it will leave it attached to the edge of the paper until you trim it. And that's very important in the border that we're going to make today. This is great because we can make different widths of our border. We can make a very thin one, or we can make it a little wider. And for today's border, we do want to cut it at 2.5 inches. So I'm lining up the top edge of my border to the 2.5 inch mark on my trimmer. Okay, and then I'm just going to give that a straight cut. And then we're done with this piece of paper. We'll put it aside for a future project. And we do need to bring in our border maker one more time so that we could punch the other side. And this is going to give us, how we see in our border, the 2 sides that look like round circles. So we slide it back in And now this is barely hanging on here, but we put the arm down and we're going to hold it pretty snug, flip back the tray, and then I'm going to bring back in my cartridge, slide it in, and I'm going to kind of press down here as I move it along just so my paper doesn't move. Okay, and I'm going to slide it. Okay. There we go. Now we have the circle element for today's border. Okay, so we're done with our border making cartridge. We're going to put this aside and we're going to bring in our Old Faithful, our circle punch. We want to take our border and we want to back it. We kind of want to back it like a cut file. Let me get a piece of white paper here so we can work on here and you can see what we're gonna do. If you look in the inspiration piece I have up there in the corner, I want to back each one of these with different paper. So it goes pink, red, pink, red, pink, red. Okay, so let's start with the pink first, which is going to be this beautiful piece of paper. So we just need to punch out a 1.5 inch circle. Okay, so however you can do that, I found the 1.5 inch circle works best for backing it. And we're going to need 3 of those. Okay, so I paused the camera there while I made 3 punches of that. Then I also brought in this beautiful red piece that has the little mini flowers on the back. And I also punched out 3 1.5 inch circles from that pattern piece as well. So then what we need to do is we just need to turn this over and essentially back the back side of our sunshine border arches punch out. Okay, so what I found works best for that is to cut these in half, and you can do this with a pair of scissors, you can do it on your trimmer, whatever is easier for you, but we do just cut them straight in half. Make a little pile here of the pink ones and a little pile of the red ones. Okay, so I'm just going to bring in my repositionable. This will allow me to line it up a little bit better in case I have to move it around. So I just put a little bit over the opening of the punch and then simply back it. Okay, and I'm just going to alternate pink, red, pink, red. Oops, see how I had it open right here? So now I'm just going to move that over, and there we go. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like. I'm going to put you on fast forward while I get the rest of this backed, and I'll be right back. Okay, so if you feel any of the repositionable adhesive coming through, you can just give it a little rub and it will be gone. But here's what our border is looking like so far. This alone is already beautiful, right? But we are going to add some more to this. Okay, before we cut the rest of our papers, let's go ahead and bring in the border stickers and get this adhered down. So the one we're going to use for this border is this beautiful pink and red flower. It's going to add so much to our border, and you can either lay that flat or you could pop that up onto some foam tape. So I am going to lay that flat, and I'm just going to line it up in the center. Okay, and this is why we trimmed our paper at 2.5 inches when we cut it on our 12-inch trimmer, so that we'd have a nice wide area in the middle to lay that beautiful border sticker on. Let's move on to cutting some more papers. So we want the one paper that goes directly behind that is this, I call it like a burst, a pink burst. And this one we are going to cut at 2 3/4. Okay, so 2 3/4. And then this will be adhered right on here. The next one, we're going to bring back in this beautiful red dot paper that we used to back some of those, and then this is going to go down here. Now I could maybe even use the area that I punched over. So I didn't plan that, but I'm glad that I gave myself enough room there. So I just need a little sliver hanging out. So let me trim that. I'm going to actually just bring the whole trimmer in and kind of line it up. I was thinking 3. So I'm going to trim that at 3 inches. And if you didn't want to cut a whole 3-inch piece, you could do, you know, maybe even a 1/2 of an inch or a 1/4 of an inch. You can see I just have a very little bit showing through, and you wouldn't have to use the whole piece. But to make it easier and quicker, I wanted to use the full piece. Okay, so what's next after that? We bring in our last piece of pattern paper, which is probably my favorite. So depending on how much you want showing through, in our inspiration piece, it looks like they have about a 1/4 of an inch on each side of the border. So I'm going to cut this at 3.5 inches. That will give me a 1/4 inch on each side. Okay. And there we go. Let me bring back in my white piece so you can see it underneath. So what they did in the inspiration piece is they brought in this big floral cluster. Now I did add it up onto some foam tape, and they just take that and they place that right about here, and you could kind of move that around however you want and however you like. And then there you go. Simple, easy. The Sunshine Arches punch just highlights this border and just makes it ever so beautiful. But you can see how easy and simple that was to put together. So let me grab some background papers and my photo templates, and we'll design a page. Okay, so if you remember in my kit building video that I was mentioning earlier, I did put in a couple pieces, and so I made it so simple for me just to pull out a couple pieces to demonstrate this for you. But so here is the wood grain paper, and I actually, now that I'm laying it here, I'm thinking that this would make a great side border. So with the wood grain paper, I probably would turn it going this direction, and I would just lay it on there like that. That looks super beautiful. Yeah, that I really, really like that one. But let me show you a couple other pieces. We had also put in this aqua paper, and I think that this looks really beautiful on this aqua paper as well. Okay, so you see how easy this is going to be to create a page. I think the hardest part is going to be choosing our background paper. And then I had this green stripe paper in there also, and that one looks super gorgeous as well. So yep, just take your border and choose a background, and then let's put down our photos. Okay, so if you want to just put 2 4x6s, you can do 2 4x6 verticals, would fit nicely. You maybe have to overlap them, but that looks super cute. You would be done. That would be super simple page. You'd be done. Or if you wanted to embellish a little bit more, then you're free to do that too. We can do our 4x6s. We could bring in maybe another 4x4. You can either make them overlap a little bit. You could make them overlap all 3 of them like that. You can even bring in another 4x6 if you wanted to overlap and have all your pictures clustered together right there. Okay. To make a double page spread, you can either bring in an additional piece of paper, and you'd be free to lay out your photos any way that you wanted to on the other piece of paper. So if we did 2 over here, and then maybe over here we wanted more of a grid style, we certainly could do that, or we could put in some more 4x4s. And if you wanted to bring in the border across here to kind of simulate what we did here, you could always bring in the second border strip from here. And there are some more embellishments in the kit that you can then kind of create a very simple yet beautiful border on this side of the page as well. Okay, so there we go. That wraps up this week's Try It Tuesday. I come back here on YouTube every other Tuesday with a new creative memory inspiration. I hope that if you liked this and it inspired you, that you would click that like button, and I thank you for doing that. And one other note, I'm going to pop over to my Facebook page tomorrow, and I'm going to create this card that is shown in the inspiration piece over on my Facebook channel tomorrow. So if you want, the information will be in the description below. So please feel free to go over there and check that out. Every Wednesday, I do a workshop Wednesday where I give a brief tutorial. So please feel free to join us over there as well. All my other information will be linked in the description as well, my Creative Memories website, as well as my email. So please feel free to reach out. So until next time, take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.